皆さんまた来てくださってありがとうございます。今日はね、水曜日の午後ですということで、宮城の皆さん本当大丈夫ですか？でもよかった、2人とも元気でよかったですっていうことで、でも気を抜かないで、いろいろ落ちてきたりするといけないから、ちゃんともう気を張っててくださいね。ということで今日は FOX ビジネスを乗っけてみたいと思います。2つのビデオをくっつけてるんですけど、最初の方が、現状の本当に現状のアメリカと、それから、ニューヨークの状況ですね。なぜかっていうとね、バイデン政権とか主要メディアは本当嘘が多いんですよ。で、私もびっくりするような嘘をどんどん出してくるんですね。すっごい景気が上がってきたみたいなこと、仕事がすごい増えてとか、全然増えてない、私たちだけなの？じゃあ仕事してないのっていう感じですごいびっくりするようなのが出てきてるんで、それの本当の現状を伝えてる前半と、後半はもうアメリカは借金まみれなんですね。まみれって当たってますよね。大丈夫ですよね。借金まみれのアメリカがバイデン政権はすっごい金額を出してくるんですよ、予算の。でもお金がないとこからだから借金がどんどん膨れ上がって、もう恐ろしい金額になって、それどこから出てくるのっていう質問には一度も答えたことがないんですね。で、とうとうペロシさんという人が、お金は使えば使うほど借金が減るんですっていう、なんかとんでもないわけのわかんないことを言ってきて、それを経済評論家が笑って話しています。で、日本と違うところっていうのは、日本は政府がちょっと嘘こいて、借金まみれだから税金をって言ってるんだけど、日本の場合は、私これ高橋洋一さんかな、元財務省にいた人のを見てると、結局日本っていうのは資産もあるから借金まみれじゃないんですよね。プラス、日本の場合は借金するっていうのは政府が国民から借金をしてるから、貧乏になってるわけではないんですよ。例えば高橋家さんがあるとしたら、高橋家のお父さんが息子にちょっとお金ないから息子を貸してくれって言って貸してもらってるわけだから、高橋家としては借金はゼロなわけなんですね。お父さんが後で息子に返せばいいだけだから。アメリカの場合は高橋家さんが隣の鈴木さんから借りて、隣の服部さんからも借りてって、今度はバイデン政権になったら隣町の伊藤さんからも借りようかっていう感じになって、とにかくどうやって返すのっていう感じになってるか、こういうことなのかなっていうふうに私の中では思っています。ということで、ちょっと話が長くなりましたが、ビデオを見てください。どうぞ。
The ranking Republican on House Oversight, also with Education and Labor, Congressman James Comer. Okay, let me put it to you this way. It's great to see you again, sir. President Biden has been around since the Nixon administration. Nancy Pelosi's since been around the Reagan era. I think Schumer's been around since George H.W. They've been around for generations. Why is the answer always to throw more of our money at it and they don't track it? It just flies out the door. It's ready, fire, then aim?
I have no idea, and it's so frustrating. And just think, when we come back this week to Washington, they want to pass more COVID relief, $15 billion more, at a time when they've just revealed that at least $8 billion was stolen. So call me a skeptic when Joe Biden announces that his solution to this problem is he's going to create another government bureaucracy within the Department of Justice and hire another person whose sole responsibility is to try to track down waste, fraud, and abuse. That's what the House Oversight Committee should be doing. But yet the Democrats don't want to provide any oversight. They're not concerned about waste, fraud, and abuse. They're just concerned about Donald Trump and anything that may or may not have happened in the Trump administration.
Well, it's just rank politics, right? It's just bare-knuckle politics still. At our expense. Here we are at the second anniversary of the pandemic. We're still 4 million jobs short. The failed lockdowns destroyed 22 million jobs, 11 million job openings. We poured $6 trillion into the economy. Just 2 months ago, the president was warning of a winter of severe illness and death. And now the CDC says 98% of Americans can stop wearing masks indoors.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we've been saying for many, many months now. The Republicans have been trying to get things back to normal, get the government out of the way, let the private sector take off, but yet the Democrats want more government control. The Democrats were very slow to reveal the data, the actual true data about how we were out of the pandemic months and months ago. They wanted to continue with the mask mandates. They wanted to continue with the government shutdown. They wanted to continue to pay people not to work. And this has had detrimental effect on the economy. This has led to supply chain shortages. This has led to inflation. And it's going to take a while to get our economy back on track. But the thing that needs to be done in Washington is to get out of the way. But the Democrats don't want to do that.
Well, you know what? Maybe voters will get him out of the way, because now look at this move, too. Senator Rand Paul is taking the fight right to Dr. Fauci, introduces an amendment to fire Dr. Fauci as the NIAID director, dividing his power into 3 separate institutes. Senator Paul says we lost more than individuals to the pandemic. We lost our freedoms, our liberties, our vibrant small-town main streets, our children's growth and learning for 2 years. Our lives, he says, were held captive by petty tyrants and power-hungry bureaucrats. That's a direct quote from Senator Rand Paul. But Dr. Fauci lately has been nowhere to be found. Your reaction?
Well, it's pretty surprising that the Democrats used Dr. Fauci front and center for so long during the pandemic. But once they started following the political science and comprehending the polls and figuring out that the American people were fed up with Dr. Fauci and the American people have lost trust and confidence in Dr. Fauci, then they put him exactly where Donald Trump had him, out of the TV cameras, kind of in the basement. Now it's very clear that Dr. Fauci needs to go. So yeah. I'm hopeful that Dr. Fauci will go in some form or fashion. Joe Biden, if he were a strong president and did the right thing and followed the political science in addition to the science, he would have already terminated Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, Senator Paul says no one person should have the sole authority to shut down America. When the WHO in 2019 said lockdowns failed in the 1918 flu pandemic, the evidence was there. Don't do widespread lockdowns. Shut down large gatherings. Let's listen to the Brooklyn Nets star Kevin Durant. He's basically saying, why are we doing these vaccine mandates? Why is my colleague he's unvaccinated? He's not allowed to play, but he's allowed to come into the arena to watch games. Watch this.
It's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand it at all. Yeah, I don't get it. It just feels like at this point now, somebody's trying to make a statement or a point.
Vaccine mandates, your final word, sir?
Well, it's crazy. I mean, the data shows that it's time for the United States to move on. It's time to move on, and I hope that the Democrats are finally getting the message.
Representative James Comer, thank you so much. It's good to see you.
Larry, you haven't heard the new form of economics from Nancy Pelosi. Madam Pelosi has a new approach to economics. I just want to play a bit and get your reaction. Roll tape.
I'm sick of this stuff.
No.
We have to talk about it because the American people think the reason for inflation is government spending more money. Simply not true.
When we're having this discussion, it's important to dispel some of those who say, well, it's the government spending. No, it isn't. The government spending is doing the exact reverse, reducing the national debt. It is not inflationary.
So spending more money by the government is reducing government debt. What do you make of that, Larry?
I love it. I just love it. It's a whole
crazy.
New idea for economics. I need to study it more. I want to see some follow-up from her staff. I just think it's a fabulous idea. I mean, look, some honest Democratic economists who are friends of ours, the guys like Jason Furman and Larry Summers and so forth, have put the lie to that. But that's the nonsense. That's the reason why Biden's economic polling is in the mid to low 30s. But, look, Russia invades Ukraine, yes, late February. That has caused a spike in both world oil prices and gasoline prices. I'm willing to concede that. But the trouble with the Bidens is they have amnesia about the 12 or 13 months prior to that invasion, which is where the inflationary seeds were originally planted. And so, no, he's not going to get away with that.
Well, bottom line is that they don't seem to be turning from that point, and they continue to put forth these spending packages and getting as much as possible through.
Just 2, 3, 4 days ago, right? The House passed, and the Senate passed, a $1.5 trillion discretionary omnibus spending bill. Now look it, I am in favor of the defense portion of that bill. I'm in favor of the Ukraine assistance portion of that bill. I'm also in favor of getting those Polish jets into the Ukraine. But I'm not in favor of rapid fire 7% increase in domestic spending. And nobody really stood up and talked about the pay-fors. I didn't hear the word pay-for once last week. And that's too bad, because both political parties have got to understand that deficit-financed overspending, accommodated by the Federal Reserve's money creation, is the ultimate cause of the inflation. The inflation is not over, David. I don't think we've seen the peak in the inflation. Let's not forget the regulatory octopus that is destroying our fossil fuel industry. That adds to inflation as well. And